They say you can never step into the same river twice because it's always changing.
The water rises and falls, yet constantly flows forward.
And it's this experience over many years that chisels and shapes a path through the earth.
In much the same way, our experiences, our memories over time, shape and forge a course in our own lives.
For many of us, our memories are painful.
Cutting deep into our hearts. We wish we could erase them.
But life moves forward out of our control and takes us to places we don't want to go.
But for a select few of us, we are given a chance to break away, to create new memories. Memories that stir up a beautiful current that leads us to places we never knew existed.
I'm a survivor of abuse, and I can tell you that the three friends that followed me wherever I went were fear, guilt, and shame. And I think that going through the process of understanding the words, "It's not your fault," I did a lot of that on the river.
Back in the fall of 2007, I believe, my sister and I were abused physically and sexually by my mother's boyfriend and some family members.
When bad things happen to us, we have two choices. We can feel sorry for ourselves and let it define us, or we can use that as a stepping stone and do something about it. And I didn't want this to define me. I certainly didn't want it to define the generations behind me. And I wanted to do something special for kids who are dealing with the same demons that I dealt with, fear, guilt, and shame. So the first year we took 3 boys fly fishing, and we've taken 110 kids since then. We've taken them completely out of their comfort zone, put them on airplanes, landed them in this remote spot of Idaho where you can look up at the mountains and see the snow. You can catch cutthroat trout and dodge moose along the river. That right there is where we are today.
Some of us, including myself, I wasn't sure what I got myself into and what I was going to expect. I didn't know if I would really like the whole fishing and all, but towards the end of the trip, we fell in love with the whole experience.
Honestly, going into it the first time, I wasn't that excited. Like, it was a trip that everyone would come back from and would be super pumped about and say that it was like the trip of a lifetime, but I was like, okay, he's taking us fishing, like so much fun. But then I got there and it was beautiful and it was amazing. It was so much fun and the people there were so kind.
When I first went, I guess I was a little bit nervous. I won't say I was excited because at that point in time, I didn't like to get out and do things outside of my comfort zone. But whenever I got there and the more I met people, they were really friendly, so it helped, and I had a fun time.
It was definitely something new. I had never heard of fly fishing before, never heard of anybody going on a trip to Idaho. All I had ever thought about Idaho was just farmland.
On River Time provides that environment that allows our kids to take this small adventure, right? That's going to prepare them for this bigger adventure later on in life. And how you can take those nuggets that you learned right there on the river that they'll take with them for the rest of their lives.
I feel like it taught me a lot, like just a lot about people in general that made me really love people. I really wasn't much of a people person, I would say, until that trip. And then like being in the nature, and I just feel like that part changed in my whole life.
Changing the kids' lives, I mean, lots of times you don't know about that for 20 years. But we were very lucky with Lorenzo because we saw that so fast.
Before the trip, I thought about like being in some kind of like fashion industry, but after the trip that all changed because I wanted to be more in hospitality. The next summer I applied to work as a waitress and a housekeeper at the lodge and loved it. Then I decided to go as a flight attendant, and here I am. It's super cool to be where I am at now. You know, I've got my dream job now because I worked so hard for it. And you know, all these series of events that happen, like On River Time helped me with that.
To see her just the dream that she had, that she didn't even realize was a dream of hers, that really started, you know, with On River Time. It's been a fun journey with her, and I truly believe we're just getting started.
I want to set an example for these kids that there is so much more to do after high school. You've got a life ahead of you. You've got to break the cycle, is what we say at Big Oak Ranch. And I think people should support On River Time because it does change the kids' lives. It changed my life. It's definitely worth it. And I would love to be a supporter of On River Time. That's how big of a deal it is to me.
I had no idea what this was going to be, but it's been a huge blessing, an enormous ride. And I think we have an opportunity to make a difference. One kid at a time.